right? So for example, in Forbes magazine, they talk about the rise of social enterprise is a new paradigm for business, right? And as a new paradigm for business also means new opportunity, right? And it calls for new ways to do business now. And Harvard Business Review recently wrote this article to talk about, and they were doing a research, and they were saying that as they are understudying, the high growth company, they found the importance of three strategies, right, that drive this business, how they can create new markets, how they serve broader stakeholder needs, and how they are able to change the rule of the games. And then they said, surprisingly, they also found a fourth driver, which they didn't realize it. And this fourth driver, all these high growth company have this thing called purpose. And they have learned to, or they found a way to put this purpose into the heart, into the core of their business strategy. So I think that's what we are purporting, right? We want to support this this mindset, or champion this perspective, right? So we want to help every business to become a purposeful brand, right? Then we want to also build this ASEAN community. ARIBA stands for ASEAN Responsible and Inclusive Business Alliance, right? So we already have a mandate from ASEAN Secretariat, right, which is connected to the ASEAN, the political leaders. So now we just want to operationalize it. And then of course, the third part of it that we do, which we hope to do, is that every year we can gather all our partners, members, stakeholders together in one mega event so that we can all interact and learn from one another. So that's what Brands for Good is, all right? We have also done our past videos. On YouTube, we have 3 videos now. One is on our video on 2018 award, the 2019 award. And then also we did this one voice sort of a production, right? Where we have all the winners coming together to produce this piece of work. Then we also have our LinkedIn. We hope that you can go in and like us, support us, follow us. So that our events, then we also have a platform that's easier for us to reach out to you with our comms, right? We also have this coffee table booklet for 2018, 2019. So if you all wish to have a copy, you can reach out to us. So talking about the ARIBA, so let me share with you also briefly ASEAN CSR, right? So ASEAN CSR was birthed within the ASEAN family, but it is a non-profit organization set up in Singapore, all right? And being part of the ASEAN, whole ASEAN entity, they are the specialized agency to champion the cause for CSR, right? As a business community. So they work very closely with the Business Council, all right? So as their vision is, right, to build a responsible and inclusive business community for all ASEAN members. So for those, well, ASEAN, so these are the 10 ASEAN countries, all right? So we hope to do that. So for those of you who may have got good context in the various other business community in ASEAN, we really hope that you can reach out to us and help us bridge the gap, all right? Because we as we build this, we will share our passion, share our vision, then let's do this together. So we are open for nomination. Please nominate yourself, nominate your people whom you know. You can go to our website to do that, all right? So now let me go into the topic of government support, right? How to boost your business growth with government support. Now, broadly, I always tell people there are 3 parts that you can look at grants, all right? One for your enterprise, one for you as an employer, and one is about individual, all right? But today I'm going to touch specifically in the area of financial assistance, all right? Money, financing, okay? So I took this article. I'll tell you where I take it from later. So they very nicely put it all into an article, right? So now ESG, of course, one big part of it. Now I took this from the website just to show you the number of related grants, right? There's a grant financing for SME working capital. And if you go further down, you can see about fixed assets, venture debt, trade loan, project loan, merger acquisition, right? So by all these grants, while they are supported by ESG, they are administered through the banks, right? So of course, later, I think Maybank will explain a bit more, okay? Now, MAS on their own also, they have got many other support, but these are more targeted to on individuals, right? About your mortgage loan, about your maybe personal loan, even I think some taxation or outstanding debts, right? So I think some parts of this, of course, also related to banks, right? So I think recently, so you can see the article is 30th April. So MES also made some announcement. So you can see the link. You can go and read more about it. Okay. So you all may have heard all these terms, right? So I'm just going to run through because Maybank will elaborate later on, right? So talk about the temporary bridging loan, right? So there are components there, the insurance scheme, right? How you do that, and then you can do your trade loan financing scheme. Then these are there are also temporary relief for financially distressed businesses. Okay. Okay. So now all these articles I get it from this publication, this law firm called White and Case, right? They nicely organize this whole document. Now, what I'm trying to tell you here is that actually grant there are a lot of information, right? So sometimes spend too much time talking can also confuse people. So I rather point you to the articles and then we bring in the experts. So I don't intend at least one session to explain everything, right? So we break them into parts and then we try to have a context so that it relates directly to the speakers that we have, all right, on what they are talking about, and then how engaging that kind of service, right, and the specific grant that is relevant. So like I think the next two webinar session we're also gonna address the MRA, market readiness assistance. All right, then next week we have Jason here with us, who is more in the patent intellectual property space. So there are also grants related to those things. Right? So well, if you want to reach out to us, this is who we are. Okay. But although I show you a quick snapshot of all those grants earlier, right? But anyway, Maybank is going to go deep into it, right? So there are many programs from trade, insurance, financing, all right? Yeah. Okay, so I hope that I give a good overview on. I think more importantly, I'd like to share with you why we are doing this. The passion, and hope that to get you all on board so that we can do this together. Okay, Glenn, back to you. Is Glenn still there?
He had to log out, and then we're asking him to log in so that maybe he can adjust his mic.
Okay,
maybe you introduce Jason.
Okay, maybe so. The next, so we invited Jason to come and very briefly introduce, because we have invited him to be our next speaker. So maybe so Jason was with Panasonic, right? He hated, when I knew him that time he was in Panasonic. He has been doing strategy planning, intellectual property strategy for many years. I think he's been in Panasonic for almost 20 years. So and Panasonic is one of the highest patent filing company in the whole world. All right, one of the highest. I think somebody needs to. Okay, somebody forgot to mute. Okay, so that's Jason, and I'd like him to share with us how do you leverage, how do you take advantage of patents, right? And I think in the world of intellectual property, many of us who are not familiar sometimes still try to solve existing problems that actually in the world of patents, a unique solution has already been found. All right, and then if you want to commercial, you want to be in the business side, right? So there are many patent owners who are looking for partners so that you can become their commercialization partner. So that's one of the space that Jason is in. So he works very closely with the Nokia, Nomura, who else? Panasonic still, many of this technology company who are always looking out for commercialization partners to help them. So maybe I pass the time over to Jason to elaborate, to share with us more.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you for the very comprehensive introduction of me. I guess you really know me pretty well. Yeah, so I don't, in that aspect, I don't need really to explain my background. So I'm very much right now in the IP monetization and commercialization business. So basically right now, Peace Future, which is the company that right now I'm running, is an IP bank. So we work with many multinational companies to help them to utilize their IP with in multiple ways. One of the ways is actually to collaborate with a small medium enterprise. So next week, just to give you a glimpse of what we are going to explain about and give you some kind of insights. Next week, I'll be talking about IP and innovation, how you can actually look at innovation using your IP that is in your own company. And if you don't have IP, how do you actually go about working with multinational company like Nokia, Panasonic, or even in the likes of other companies like Ricoh and so forth to actually utilize the technology that they have and that they are openly wanting to look for open innovation partners. This is actually quite a phenomenon because in the past it's almost quite difficult to reach out to them and then to dig into what so-called their treasury vault in their company, to take out their intellectual property to actually use for other purpose. So basically next week I'll be introducing some of the potential portfolios that you can actually look at. Separately, I'll also be teaching you how to actually make best use of your intellectual property, or if not, start making your own portfolio in the company. All right, so stay tuned. So next week, come on during this time again, I think, to actually listen to what I'm going to share. And separately, I also run a IP hash challenge, which is ongoing now. Hopefully it's not too late. If you guys want, you can also go on the website called iphatchday.com. You can see the details on my screen. You can go there and join this challenge if you want to win any of the IP that we are offering to the startups or small medium company. The competition actually ending on the 16th of May. So stay tuned and be quick to go and have a look. All right. If not, you also can contact CEO Asia for any information. Thanks, Alan. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so now we come to our main dish. That's of course over to Maybank. So like to share again. Maybank has been embarking on this Brands for Good journey with us from the beginning. So we are thankful that it has been a great time working with the whole team. So I think without further ado, I pass the time to Mark to share more about Maybank, and I think they have their whole team. All their various experts, right, from insurance, trade loan, all that. So please take the opportunity to engage, and get a contact so that you all have any financing needs, you can follow up later on. So over to you, Mark.
Thanks, Alan. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, business owners, key people of companies. My name is Mark. We are from SME Banking. Now, let me just quickly put on the Maybank slides to start sharing a little bit. All right, so in the last 2 over months, there's been unity budget, resilient budget, solidarity budget. All that has been a lot of. There's been 3 versions of the budget, one after another, getting better and better, improving as time goes by. And in this circuit break period as well, there's a couple other additional incentives that are being brought up as well. So it's been a tough time, lots of challenges. And so I guess it's an opportune time for myself representing the bank to kind of share some of the, in more detailed fashion, some of the SME goodies or financial relief schemes that SMEs can avail themselves to. Right, I have with me my 2 colleagues, both senior vice presidents. They both head respective business development units. We got Elena Yeo and Alan Hong. Now, I'm just gonna bring them up shortly to talk about a few things. Elena is going to touch essentially on working capital loans, a bit more popular and easy to understand products, working capital loans. All right, and then Alan's going to come in shortly after that to talk about trade finance. As you know, trade finance is a very important instrument or tool to facilitate the buying and selling, as we are a trading nation. I'm going to come back after Alan to talk about the digital capabilities. And then also followed by some of the goodies, also the relief measures that the MES as well as the banks have dished out, because we know that entrepreneurs, business people, they are also in the end consumers, right? We consume things like mortgages, credit cards, renovation loan. We're going to touch a little bit about some of the relief measures that the industry as well as Maybank have to offer. Yeah. Well, just a quick introduction of the bank, of course, before I hand over the time to both my colleagues. We are operating as a branch operations as part of the group and been in Singapore for the last 60 years. In fact, this year, 2020 is our 60th anniversary. But first, unfortunately, the celebrations are a little bit muted because of the current situation. But hey, happy to report that we are 2,000 strong bankers continue to serve the Singapore community. And to add further commitment to the Singapore market, about November 2018, almost 2 years ago, we actually set aside our consumer banking and SME banking together to localize into a Maybank Singapore Limited. So we're setting a bit more roots into the Singapore community, so that we are kind of like a locally incorporated bank, right? That's a bit about the short intro. over the time now to Elena, who will carry on sharing more about the working capital. Elena, your time.
Thank you, Mark. Hi, good afternoon to all participants that join us this afternoon. Thank you for sparing your time with us. So in this about an hour, right, we will be sharing relief packages as well as packages that could help you during in time of such uncertainty. So during this type of period of uncertainty, I guess cash flow will be the main key, most important factors to all SMEs to stay afloat. So in the recent solidarity packages itself, right, there are 5 schemes that the government came up with to help you in terms of your relief, to help you in terms of getting your cash flow. Of these 5, 2 of them is pertaining to cash flow. And I must say that the solidarity package is really solid in a sense. Okay, the 2 of them will be, the first one I'll be touching on will be enhanced working capital loans, as well as the temporary bridging loans. Okay, so the enhanced temporary bridging loans is, enhanced working capital loans is something that the ground you are more familiar with. As the name suggested, it's really an enhanced version. It used to be the normal working capital loans that we are familiar with, 300,000, interest rate at the range of about 7% to 8.75%. This one was upgraded and enhanced to 600,000. And in April itself, it went all the way up to $1 million. So yeah, so $1 million with the interest rate in the range of about 3.75 to 4.25%. All right. So this is the SME working capital loans. The other one whereby it came out in April itself will be the temporary bridging loan. Okay, these temporary bridging loans will be to help SME to alleviate your cash flow needs towards your businesses. So this it's really the solid one, because the maximum loan for this is up to 5 million. So for SME itself, for the small enterprises itself, we are looking at, the bank will be looking at maybe up to a maximum of 2 million for you. And for the bigger enterprise, we will be working up to 5 million for these packages. So this one itself, right? So you'll be asking, so what's the difference between these two? Which one should I go for? For a start, the interest rate for this one is relatively lower. This is in the range of 3% to 3.75%. All right, whereas the other one is slightly higher at 3.75 to 4.25. So with this differential in interest rate, right, most of the SMEs now are going for the temporary bridging loan first. Okay, so for both packages, you realize that they offer you deferment of principal repayment for 5 years. So how does this deferment of principal repayment actually works? So say for example, you took up a loan of about 100,000. Let's just work with a simple 100,000. And for this 100,000 itself, the interest rate, say assuming is 3%, that means you only pay me interest for the next 1 year at $300. All right. So you pay interest for 300, and the balance after 1 year, you will be the balance of the 4 years to repay off your 100,000 loans. So if you go for a 500,000 temporary bridging loans, your interest for that particular 1 whole year every month is about 1,500. Yeah. So technically, it is the cash flow for all the SME tauges. It allows you all to, you know, liquidity during this period, because you don't have to service me the principal. You only pay me the interest for that particular 1 whole year, and then you have the other balance of the 4 years to repay off the whole principal amount that you actually borrowed. So what's the requirement for all these 2 loans? All right, for these 2 loans, the requirements is rather similar. It has to be a registered and operating in Singapore. Okay, this is the most important one. And 30% local shareholding. In operating in Singapore, doesn't mean that, okay, today I go Accra, I go and set up a company. Then tomorrow I come and borrow a temporary bridging loan. Then I'm afraid you will not be able to qualify, because basically for Maybank, right, we need a minimum of 2 years setup. Then of course, we also look at working your net worth of the company, the cash flow, the current liquidity. We know that current liquidity could be affected, but there will still be liquidity in your company itself. So these are the various things that the banks will look at when we process your working capital loans. So for these 2 loans, that's how we aggregate, how we actually work out and whether we will work on the amount of financing that you'll be able to qualify for. So these are the 2 cash flow loans. And with that, I'll pass to Ellen to cover the trade portions. Ellen?
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Elena, for sharing from the working capital loans, that means all the cash flow products. So I'm here to share another product that also helps SME in their working capital needs. It's the trade financing portion, specifically under loan insurance scheme. So maybe not all SMEs are very familiar with this product. So I'll just give a basic overview. So basically what is trade? Trade is like what Mark shared just now, is basically buying and selling, which contributes to a major part of the economy in Singapore. So notwithstanding this pandemic situation, we noted that global trade has dropped, but I think this is still very crucial for our economy right now. Like for example, once China opened up, you see like a certain luxury boutique, suddenly it's record-breaking sales, because everybody cannot buy anything for such a long time, coop at home. So once the whole COVID measures open up, then you see a rebound in all the demands and stuff like that. So basically, trade financing basically is just to assist SMEs in the buying and selling. For example, for the import side purchase, we will have a letter of credit, trust receipts, and invoice financing. So I wouldn't go into detail, but what it basically means is to, the bank will help SMEs pay their suppliers whenever they make a purchase. So what you need to do is just to submit the invoice and delivery documents to the bank, and the bank will verify and make a payment to your suppliers. So in short, you don't have to pay your suppliers in cash. You just use the bank facilities to pay your suppliers. Then the bank will give you a credit terms of maybe 3 to 4 months to pay back. Right. So for this trade financing, right? How is the government involved? There's just a scheme called the loan insurance scheme. It's currently in tranche 5. So it's already in our system for many years. I think when I started in banking, it was under tranche 3. So you can see, and I've been working in Maybank for 12 years. So this tranche 5 is stretched for maybe more than 10 years, right? So what is it actually? It's actually a government-assisted scheme jointly administered by Enterprise Singapore to help Singapore-based companies to obtain this trade financing facilities. So what it does is it shares the risk with the banks, so that to give more comfort for banks to grant trade facilities to SMEs. So this underwriting is actually like a, how do I call it, insurance scheme, whereby the customer needs to pay a certain premium in order to enjoy this risk sharing with the underwriters and the government. So there's 2 levels. First level, where we submit for approval, we have to go through a consortium of insurers. And this group of insurers will take up 75% of the risk. So in return, right, the SMEs have to pay annual premium to these insurers, right? So premiums before the various budgets were announced, they were ranging from 1.25 to 1.9% per annum. This is after 50% subsidies from the government. So for example, if you take a 1 million trade line, we have to pay 19,000 of insurance premium for a year. So ever since 1st April 2020, the government has basically enhanced their support, providing more subsidies on the premium. So right now it's at 80%, which effectively brings down the insurance premiums to 0.5 to 0.64%. So the lowest being 0.5, for 1 million, you just pay like what, 5,000, right? It's, compared to the previous time, you have to pay a 19K. So basic criteria wise is quite similar to the working capital, basically. SME must be registered and operating in Singapore and to have at least 30% local shareholdings. So if you compare, it's basically the government is really out to help the local SMEs, right? So maybe some people will ask, what happens if this insurers they don't approve your application for trade, or they approve maybe half of what you requested for? So what happens next? So not to worry. ESG is still there as a backup. So just like I mentioned, first level is insurance. So if for any decline or insufficient limit cases, right, by the insurer under level 1, they will go to level 2, which is this under ESG. That's why they call it trade loans, right? So trade loans, basically it works similar to working capital. There's a shared limit within all the banks, all the PFIs, participating financial institutions. So they'll support all these cases whereby customers couldn't get the full limit from the insurance, and they are covering 90% of the risk instead of 75%. So there's a key difference here. For insurance, they cover 75%. So once your application goes to ESG, Enterprise Singapore, government actually covers 90% of the risk. And maybe you will think, well, like that, the premium maybe will be higher. No, for this package, right, government actually is only charging a premium of 0.5% as well. Okay, so limit-wise, they also enhance from 5 million to 10 million until 31st March 2021. So criteria-wise is similar, with one major difference. It supports a larger borrower group revenue cap of 500 million for all enterprises. For the loan insurance scheme, it's up to 100 million. So if you go to the enterprise scheme, it's actually supporting a larger borrower group, SME group. So basically, all these tools are in place for SMEs to tap on to improve your cash flow during these very trying times. So when I speak to customers, my advice is to really, for SMEs to look at all these different types of financing carefully. Especially for term loans, it's actually more of a short-term basis. And for trade finance, you can consider for a more long-term view, because it's basically it's a revolving line. So if you have a 1 million limit, it works like OD. You draw down 200K to pay your supplier. Once you pay the bank back, you still have the 1 million limit for you to utilize. Compared to term loan, once you get the money, you just start using and paying back installments. So it's really a different type of usage for these two products, right? So for example, I just spoke to a customer. They want to sell some decontamination products in Singapore. So I think the quantum is quite huge. They want us to help to finance their purchase. So imagine if they use a TBL, a temporary bridging loan, for maybe 500,000. Once they make a payment, then that's all. They are stuck. They have to wait for the payment to come back and start to roll. Or in between, if they have other users for the money, then maybe they are unable to make the purchase. So that's why for SMEs, I suggest that maybe for temporary bridging loan, yes, please try to use it to improve your cash flow. Maybe you can consider to use it for your day-to-day overheads, or investment in online platforms, new platforms. Then for trade, you can use it for your BAU buying and selling, so as to not touch your main cash flow, right? So somebody forgot to mute. Yeah, sorry. So and one more thing is for these trade lines, right? Is under is the interest is calculated on a day-to-day. That means if you use it for a day, then you just pay 1 day interest. If you don't use it, there's no interest charge. So for that sense, it's more easier to control for the customer. You only pay if you use it, right? So that's for the trade part. Then next, I'll be sharing on what are the relief programs Maybank is offering. One of it is actually, can I have the next slide? Yes. Yeah. For existing customers of Maybank, we are offering a moratorium, basically deferment of principal and interest, right? For factory loans, machinery term loans, and commercial industrial property loans. So this is exclusive for Maybank. I think most of the banks are offering moratorium or principal deferment for their secured loans. But for Maybank, we want to help our customers even further. So we are offering a principal plus interest deferment and loan extension till 31st December 2020. Right. So what does this mean? It means effectively you don't have to pay anything during this period of deferment. both interest and the principal. And after that, you can still opt to extend your loan tenure by how long you defer your payment. So in fact, it's like a timeout for your loan repayment to help SMBs give them a breather, don't have to be stressed about all their monthly commitments with their existing loans with Maybank. And I need to have a disclaimer. This is only for existing customers. So SMEs who want to refinance over to Maybank in order to enjoy this privilege, sorry, really cannot. Or we are helping our existing customers, right? So if existing Maybank customer, then it's good for you. You just contact us and we will help you do the necessary. So what are the requirements for this relief? Basically, registered and operating in Singapore, at least 30% local shareholding, same as just now all the products that we shared. And the account is not in arrears for more than 90 days as at 6 April. So before this 6 April, this account your account with Maybank must be so-called satisfactory. That means you still maintain some form of good repayment conduct, like don't have arrears more than 90 days. Then you qualify for this relief package. Okay, so rather straightforward thing. All right, so that's the end. I'll pass it back to Mark to continue with more goodies from Maybank. Mark.
Thanks, Alan. So let me just okay. So there's been some before I even talk about the goodies, right? There are some burning questions. I see a lot of chatter already. Wow, our screen has some graffiti already. So we have some burning questions. Maybe with the team together with Alan, we try to take some of these questions first, yeah, so that to keep the conversation as well. Now, a question on new clients. Now, whether you are kind of Maybank or you are an existing customer of Maybank, so we don't differentiate. All right, you can still apply for both for all the facilities that we talked about, whether it's an enhanced working capital loan or a temporary bridging loan, or even the trade finance facilities that Alan spoke about. Yeah. And I will say that for the TBL and the EWCL product that Elena spoke about, the pricing will likely go down a little bit. Okay, we hope to have some good news announcements this week. Yeah, so that I think we can further kind of help the SMEs even ease your burden even further with the lower interest rate. And as she spoke about just now, the 12 months moratorium is really going to be very useful to really take away all your cash flow worries. Yeah. Our website has all the information going to it. Going to maybanksingapore.com or maybank.com.sg. Going to that, it's all there. If you want to apply, there's also a click-through link as well, and an officer will contact you within 7 working days. Yeah. And also at the end of this slide, we will have some more further information as well on who you can talk to if you want to just immediately talk to someone. Right. Yes. No collateral. Yes, but the personal guarantee will be needed. The guarantee is only on the loan amount and on the loan tenure. So if it's like what I mentioned, this is a 100K loan over a period of 3 years, and that is your obligation to the bank on that level, right? I think much has been talked about the personal guarantee. Why having a 90% assurance from ESG? Do the entrepreneurs still, or the borrowers still need to have a personal guarantee? I think it's more of a personal responsibility. We want that commitment, because as ESG and the bank has committed funding as well, we want the entrepreneur to also equally commit to having being responsible to pay off the loans, right? So at the moment, that is what we are looking for. I will commit to you that all the customers that come to us, and not just to Maybank, but to all the banks, also have committed their personal guarantee for that particular loan purpose. Yeah, or that loan amount. Sorry. Also something on longer turnaround time these days. Yeah, I'm afraid the team knows this very much because the industry, we have an influx. I think most banks anywhere from 4 to 5 to 6 times the usual volume. All right, and so with this volume, I think we have the same team. In fact, because of the circuit breakers and everything, some of us have to. A lot of the team, in fact, the banks, a lot of us, 70-80% of us, are kind of working out from the home. Yeah, like you see from here, my colleague, myself, Alan, Ina, even the the gang from CEO Asia, Brands for Good Moments, a lot of them are kind of in casual clothing, caps, they're kind of working from home as well. So it's a big challenge, but rest assured, we will get to you. Okay, give us the standard turnaround time is between 2 to 3 weeks at least. It used to be 2 to 3 to 4 days, but these days it's a bit longer due to the influx as well as the challenges right now in terms of processing. All right, so and there's no specific pricing actually mentioned in the budgets actually. So just now the pricing that both Alan and the pricing that Elena alluded to for TBL and EWCL, those are staying put, and there's no specific budget pricing for factoring or even inventory purchase. You may use the trade finance facilities that Alan talked about, or you may use the TBL or the EWCL to look at some of your inventory financing needs. Okay, this is a free play, and the interest rates is low, so it's never been a better time to, if you have the ability to soak up some of the liquidity by the bank, it's never a better time to take on some liquidity so that in terms of loans, right, so you can dispense off this liquidity to buy inventories at a cheap if you have that spare capacity. Yeah, and speaking of this, it's a time of movement control. In a time of circuit breaker, we're kind of restricted, and that's why technology actually plays a part. And if you see on the screen here, the SME Start Digital on SSD, it's a subset really, a branch of a larger SME Go Digital, and that is a part of a larger Singapore Smart Nation movement that started a few years ago. SME Start Digital, as you see on the screen, SSD really started just last year in January. Okay, there are 5 modules across here: accounting, HR, marketing, digital transactions, cybersecurity. What Maybank and the 3 local banks offer as well, UOB, DBS, and OCBC, and the 3 telcos, M1, StarHub, and Singtel. We combine together all 7 of us. Yeah, we offer all these 5 programs. You choose 2 out of 5, 2 of these out of the 5 modules here, and we will subsidize you fully for the first 18 months. Right, so there's never been a better time for SMEs to kind of start their digital journey. Now, a lot of SMEs are still on pen and paper, on Excel spreadsheets in terms of accounting, in terms of the HR management, right? So we are kind of funding you to enroll onto a basic automation path to get you started. All right. So for the companies who are listening today, if you are still using pen and paper for your HR payrolls and everything, check out this program. Go to our website as well, or any of the banks that you currently bank with. We have HR management payroll. Can you imagine you free up all your time doing payroll, free up all your time doing claims, all right? And just a simple payroll system like that, which is fully funded and subsidized by Maybank for the first 1.5 years. So it's really very wonderful time. Spend your resources and your very, very precious time for the entrepreneurs, right? Better use, put it to really, really doing things that matter to you, which is going to get the business, going to get the money. And things like digital marketing, you see it on your screen here on the middle panel. It's really not about you knocking doors anymore or making phone calls. It's about using digital channels, social media, online channels to kind of reach out to a bigger, wider audience. All right, especially today, we also have many of our F&B clients who kind of use delivery platforms, right? Like your Deliveroo and your Foodpanda to kind of generate revenue in these difficult times when the restaurants are closed. So these are a form of digital marketing. And digital transaction, no longer you have to take cash. Okay, you can do digital, you can receive digital payments, you can do digital revenue. So it's really, really convenient, which brings me to the next slide, which is the next point. Maybe Cheryl can press. Yeah, so with this, the bank has come up with just now was on SME Go Start Digital, lots of goodies. But I must reiterate again, that one is really for starting out your digital journey. You already have some sort of a digital automation play, then that one may be a little bit too basic for you. But all the vendors that we have can go into the advanced level. Yeah, this is to kickstart your business. This one is about payments. You can see pay now. You see the word pay now there. You see the word fast transactions. All this literally is basically free for you. If we have a 25 plus 25, $25. If you are now, you now quickly register your UN to accept pay now. And if you make 10 pay now transactions, you get now $25. So it's $50 for you. It's basically giving money to encourage you to be able to automate and receive money. All right. And as well for your promotion as well, all the pay nows in and going out are free. Okay, the prices typically range from 20 cents all the way to $2 per transaction. It's all free. And for this period as well, just to help and ease the burden of all the entrepreneurs out there, the fast transactions is also free. So everything is kind of free, and it's very clear what the government as well as what the banks also want to encourage to go digital, to go automated, to not so collect so much of the physical money, but to really improve your processes and make more money, spend your time wisely. Yeah. Next slide. You can't talk about Maybank without talking about Malaysia. All right, we are still a part of the whole Maybank group. I proud to announce that we are kind of maybe the biggest bank network-wise, branches-wise, in between Malaysia and Singapore combined. We're probably the biggest bank in terms of network, in terms of branch network. Yeah, and so what we have done is that for this period, because we know that many companies transact with Malaysia, buy and sell. You know, the transaction between these two countries is about 110 billion Sing dollars on a yearly basis. So we easily pay out about 50 to 60 billion Sing dollars to Malaysia in terms of buying all the inventories and everything, the goods and everything, your eggs, your water, your vegetables, your raw materials, a lot come from Malaysia, right? So this one, what we've done is that we have improved our exchange rate. Okay, the MYSG exchange rate, we have improved it so that now you find it more attractive, and we have waived all the remittance charges as well. So we have improved our FX rate, our Sing Ringgit exchange rate. We have also waived off all the remittance charges so that you can walk into the Maybank branches. Of course, we have closed some branches because of the current circuit breaker. We've opened still about 7 to 8 branches. You can go to the branches and do your transactions absolutely free, remit your money, both consumer as well as for companies. All right, so it's part of what we are saying that to the customers. Say we value you, appreciate you. We want to help you to kind of go through all this little bit of any little bit of help we will do to help you to go through these moments with a digital payment like this. So all this pay now, fast remittance to Malaysia, you kind of see it's almost all absolutely free. Okay, now let's move on a little bit more now quickly to our consumer. This is very easy. Home loans and CIP. You see that now the CIP is your commercial industrial property. It's quite new. We launched tomorrow. Home loans has been around, but both essentially are asset loans, right? Something a little bit like what Alan mentioned just now. What he talked about commercial industrial property loans for SMEs, right? These are for your consumers. That means for individuals. The case who we spoke to, who's attending today, you have got home loans, or you personally, in your personal name, buy a commercial property. Now all this is for you. Now what Maybank does is that we give you a principal moratorium of both the principal and interest from now till December. What it means is this: you pay absolutely zero. All right. Some simple illustration. For example, a housing loan. Let's say a housing loan of $800,000. You're paying over 25 years. Interest rate say 1.8%. Simple illustration, right? Usually you pay about $3,300 a month. Now, if you are already a Maybank home loan customers as well as a Maybank commercial industrial property loan customers, come to us, write to us, and we will say it's going to be a principal and interest holiday, or banking terms a little bit more complicated, moratorium. Actually, it means holiday. It means you pay nothing from now till end of this year. You reset everything in January of 2021. All right, so I thought this is very good, very useful. Of course, right now you see the terms and conditions below there. Singapore's called PR. The accounts cannot be in arrears. That means you cannot be owing us more than 3 months, which means that you know, the general classification for a difficult loan is more than 3 months, so it should be within 3 months. All right, and you don't have to prove that you're being troubled or affected by the COVID-19. All right, so feel free to just browse our website for the home loans. The commercial property loans portion will be launched tomorrow. Yeah. Next slide. We also have some other good stuff that we have laid out for renovation and education loan customers. Now, once again, to both the home loans, the CIP, this reno education loan are for our existing Maybank customers. All right. This one as well. If you really have renovation loan with us or education loan with us, again, you can apply for a principal and interest holiday until end of this year. Okay. Once again, it's going to save you a lot of money. Typical renovation loan, 30K, 5 years, about 4.5%. You typically pay about $600 a month. It's going to be zero cash flow for you because some might have lost jobs, some might have got very poor business revenue coming in the next few months. So holiday until end of this year. All right. Again, the terms and conditions are there. This will be launched officially tomorrow. All right, this is a new second wave of consumer relief packages that we launched, which was just discussed last week, and we're launching it this week. All right, to help more customers. The last bit here is on credit card. Now, for those who have credit card lifestyle spending, and you tend to revolve your balances, means that you don't pay the full amount, you let it run. All right, a typical interest rate environment is anywhere from 24 to 27% per annum. That's about over 2% per month. Right, so could be challenging if you have been revolving quite a high balance. So simply put, you can come to the bank and say, hey, can I repay this in installments? So we give you up to 5 years to repay. We, instead of 24, 26, 27% interest rate, we lower it down to 8% interest rates, right? And you can just pay off the loan over that outstanding over a period of 5 years. So, and we kept it at 3% of total loan amount for you. For example, a typical 10K outstanding, over 5 years, 8%, you're paying about $200 per month, right? So whatever amount that's larger, you just multiply by that multiplier. Remember, we kept it at 3% of the loan amount. So this is very useful. And of course, being a lifestyle product, notice that this is the one that we have to prove that your ability to pay has been curtailed by the COVID-19 scenario. So you have to prove that, show that maybe there's some drop in income by at least 25%, or some drop in business revenue by 25%. So the banks, not just Maybank, the banks that issue the card will have an opportunity to look at your case and give you some relief. Yeah. Okay. I've kind of come to the end of this presentation. I think the next one is just context. Like I said earlier on, some of the customers that write in and say, hey, I'm still waiting for my answer. I hope that you can give us a bit more patience. But in the meantime, for customers who are in this room, SME owners, we can actually take a photo of this. And this are all my managers, very experienced people. They report to both Elena and Alan. All right, they will be more than happy to take your instructions and take your requests. But of course, please hope they can be patient with us, as it's overwhelming. We try our very best. Give us between 2 to 3 weeks to come back to you with a proper offer if your loan is approved. Yeah, I'm going to hand it back to, I guess, either Alan or
me. Let me see whether my voice is it okay.
Yeah, it's good. And if there's any questions,
okay, welcome you back.
Yeah, I thanks a lot, Mark, Alan, and Elena for being so patient, and everybody for my sound problem. I literally had to reboot my computer, and actually I even had to reinstall Microsoft Office because my presentation hung. But anyway, as you can see, Maybank's contact details are there. There's a quick QR code that you can also share. I like to sort of I know there were a lot of questions going on in the chats, and Elena went through very fast. I PM her and say, you need to slow down and share more.
Those private one I have already answered.
But I think should publicly answer.
Some of them, some could be quite private lah. So I already answered the private one. But some general question that comes up upon, Mark has already answered some of them.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm only seeing this particular one, which is asking whether will there be a requirement to get 100% agreement from the company shareholders. We would definitely want majority of the shareholders to be in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe I have to answer, clarify the question. Do you need all the shareholders to sign?
Technically, yes.
Yes. Okay. So that means you need all the agreement.
100%.
Unless, I mean, we have cases. It's case by case. If the other shareholder maybe less than 20% and it's very old and senior and it's a retiree, then of course there are case by case situations whereby we didn't insist on that retired shareholders to be in.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any other sort of questions?
There is another one which also mentioned that they are startup business and they have been rejected. It would be quite difficult to get financing through this model for startup businesses. So I think that's for startup, right? Then maybe you will have to follow Alan's Brands for Goods, his grants, which could be more appropriate for startup. So for this working capital and the temporarily bridging loan, right, it will not be so appropriate for startup. you would face with obstacle when you apply for it? Yeah.
The working capital loans or even just temporary bridging loans, all these are, you see, I just want to also try to add on a little bit more, is that these are loans for entrepreneurs who already have started their business, has been something, it's been kickstarting it. The operations has been fairly stable for at least 2 over years and above, right? So it's really for company to ramp up to the next level, or for companies who are already operating kind of profitably, right? And who need some capital to, or the liquidity to tie through this difficult period. Startups are a different breed of SMEs, all right? You're at the early stage, you're at the seeding stage. When you say startups, we're talking about generally people from day 1 all the way to maybe day 20, month number 23, all right, or less than 2 years. The grants that Alan spoke of just now, venture capital, angel investors, private equity, even family and friends, this should be the source of your working capital for this period until you kind of graduate into more stable. Because these are working capital loans for companies to grow, not to help them at the early seeding stage. So it's a different purpose. It's different purpose. And so this forum today is more for SMEs beyond the seeding stage. Yeah. So this is what I want to add on.
There's one question asking about how long they can actually go for the interest servicing for the temporary bridging loan. The moratorium period for principal servicing only is for 12 months. Yeah, up to maximum 12 months. Thereafter, your repayment will be, you can spread over your repayment over the next 4 years. The maximum duration for this facility, right, is up to 5 years.
Yeah,
And
I can also jump in to address some questions on trade loans. I believe there are 2 questions pertaining to the interest. So what is the indicative interest rate for inventory financing as a result of solidarity budget? Basically for trade is quite a wide range of interest rates available. It's on a case-by-case basis. So in general, our interest starts from 6 to 7%. But of course, it really based on the case by case, depending on the size of the limit granted, the profile of the company. So we can even go down to cost of fund plus a certain spread. So just let us assess, then we'll advise you accordingly on the interest rates. The other question is about trade loan versus overdraft. In general, I think the interest for trade loans will be cheaper than overdraft. Reason being, overdraft is basically there's no control over the usage of funds. There's no visibility from the bank. For trade, it's a very purposeful type of facility. So usually it's cheaper, like just like I shared, 6 to 7% generally. For overdraft, unsecured wise, it will be in the range of maybe 9.8 and above. So hopefully that addressed the question. Thanks.
I have a question, hands raised from Kelvin Tan. Maybe he would like to sort of vocalize. Kelvin, are you there? You want to turn on your mic? Kelvin? I turned you on. Can you hear me? Can you say? You have your hands raised? Okay. I guess Kelvin's out. Sorry. Alan,
Maybe
you want
sure,
to...
Yeah, so maybe I add on further as well. So that I thought that was a very good elaboration on the trade finance facilities. Now, those customers that are already with us, whether it's a trade finance or whether you have a commercial property with us or even existing overdrafts or working capital, yes, you are still eligible for the temporary bridging loan, right? This is an extension. Well, this is, we talked about this is 90% assurance by the authorities. So hence, the bank has got a bit more appetite. We kind of say, hey, this is 90% guaranteed by enterprise, so we have a bit more appetite to kind of grant you. So additional loans can be granted to existing borrowers of Maybank already, right? And I think generally speaking, your financials at the point of time of right now at current application should be positive lah. I mean, we can understand businesses not every year is profitable, all right. But if your latest year is profitable, all right, I think there's a good chance that we can review your request very favorably. And it's no surprise sometimes the entrepreneurs do bring in extra guarantors if generally it's a bit not strong, right? The case. So it's not surprising that the family member comes in to to come in to strengthen the case. Yes, we do accept that, and we view this we view such commitment very favorably, that you're committed to the business. You even bring your because the financials are not that great, not that strong at the moment, the company, and hence you bring in a fellow family member, could be a spouse, could be a child. Of course, the child must be of age, to come in to kind of commit. Maybe the child would likely be your second generation. Your 接班人, right? Likely to be that, and then hence it's even more positive that we review your case. And the great thing about this, about the temporary bridging loan and the working capital loan, is that there's no prepayment penalty. Yeah, right. So it's really good. You can take a 5-year loan, but after a year or year and a half or 2 years, in fact, you feel that you don't need the loan anymore, and your revenue has come back to your company, it's restored, everything is back to normal, and you're very healthy with cash. I suggest you pay the bank back early, whether it's Maybank or whichever bank, because what's the point, right? We're charging interest, right? Although I can say this so that I can earn more money from you, but no, I think you should be a responsible entrepreneur, right? And the money is there. If you have excess capacity and liquidity, you don't need the money. Don't pay us the interest. Pay back the banks. And maybe there's also sometimes some questions. Maybe I get Ina to answer. How do you calculate the eligibility of company on the loan? Can I just simply, any company applies for 100K? Can I just go for 1 million, 5 million? How do you determine?
Okay, basically we will look at the company net worth. There's actually a formula that we use lah. Okay, can we say it's on average about 2 times of the net worth of the company. Then we also look at whether the company is profitable. Okay, and that's about the 2 main things that we look at. Also, we derive from the average bank statements for the past 6 months to see whether you can your serviceability in terms of the loan amount. So these loans, right? You may think that, okay, 1 year interest payment, yes, this is to help you to ease your cash flow for the next 12 months. But thereafter, you must be able to service the monthly installment plus the principal with the remaining 4 years. So say on average, if you are going for a million loan, I would say your monthly installment is about 18,000 for the balance for 5 years. So your cash flow, your liquidity must be able to service it. So at this junction, how we look at it is whether your current cash flow during this period, are you able to at least service it? Your past 6 months track record will be how we use to dictate whether will you be able to service this loan amount. So we don't stop. If let's say, for example, I think there's one question pertaining to if I have taken out certain amount from another bank. So this loan now is up to 5 million. So say I took out 1 million from another bank, and I think that I still need more. Okay, you are actually allowed to apply with say Maybank for another 1 million or maybe another a few million. But the problem is, like what Mark say, it has to be a responsible enterprise. So to say that eventually, will you be able to service the monthly installments when things get back to normal? Yeah. Or maybe you want it just for liquidity, for cash flow, and when things settle off, you will pay off the portions. Otherwise, the servicing every month will really goes down and affect your business cash flow thereafter also.
In fact, we have got a case whereby the revenue is okay, it's growing. We have just a case that I saw recently. Revenue growing very nicely. Profits are strong, but the cash flow seems to be a bit low, and they were asking for a very huge amount, right? So you see, the revenue is there, the net worth of the company is there, and the profitability is there, but the cash flow, somehow there's a lot of leakage out, right? And so when he asked for a big chunk of money, so we look at his own cash flow itself. Every other checkbox is checked very nicely, but cash flow is a little bit lacking. And so what I recommended for this case was to cut the line, as in to reduce the ask from XX amount. I reduced almost half, because to kind of sometimes when we do this, it's because we love you. We are telling the businesses, please, you are engaging in too high a risk. Your liquidity cannot cope with your future repayments. All right, so that's why, like what Elena said, right now it's true. There is a 12 months principal holiday, right? What happens after 12 months? After 1 year from now, what happens? You're going to be in trouble if you do not manage, if your cash flow continues to be low. So the banks are here to help. We're not here to inject poison, we have to inject a sense of liquidity and a sense of sensibility to the whole loan application.
Okay, is there any other questions that we want to vocalize so rather than type out questions? Does anyone have
Somebody was asking whether can they get a copy of the slides. So this QR code, when you scan for it, yeah, you can also receive a copy of the slide.
All right.
Yeah.
Hi, sorry, Elena and Mark. My name is Cassandra. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
can.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. Actually, I just like to check with you on the personal guarantees part. Will it be necessary for all directors to actually guarantee for this loan, or do you need shareholders as well?
Is your answer?
Usually, if the directors are also the shareholders, then we will include them in. You're saying it's just purely a shareholder?
So I'm actually asking if do we need shareholders and directors, or just directors alone will be enough?
Usually the directors are directors, but if the directors and the shareholders are the same persons, then relatively they will be in.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
but
understand.
usually they are the same persons, unless you have different shareholders and directors.
Okay, we have some most of our directors are shareholders.
Yes.
But it's just that we do have other shareholders lah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Minority shareholders.
Not really minority. One of them is a majority.
Okay.
That means she holds a substantial amount of shares in the company.
Can I interrupt there? Can you hear me?
Yes, you can. Okay.
Yeah, I think I got to add on. I'm from the same company as Cass. What is happening is this: we are a technology company, and one of our major shareholders, or substantial shareholder, she is actually a research scientist. Because she's attached to the government, there's no way that I can get her to sign a guarantee because of her relative position, and she's a non-exec director in the company. So can she be waived?
We have done it before.
It can be done. Thanks. That's what I wanted to ask.
Right.
Thank you.
I think SK and maybe to all the panel here, having worked with Maybank for over 2 years, I found that the team has been rather, what's the good word, flexible in working with solutions and supporting the SME community here. I would also like to harbor that and say that Maybank's also the upstart in the Singapore's landscape, and they're hungrier. So I think they will buy and make it work out for everyone. Right? Sorry, Cassandra, you have a follow-up question as well?
No, just
Okay.
yeah. And clapping. Yeah.
Cassandra and SK, it's basically the same question, is it? Yeah, together.
Yes, same company.
Yes.
Okay.
Can I just add, ask a little bit more? You know, you seem to talk a lot about the profitability of the company. In the case of technology companies, we have turnover. Actually, although we are about 3 years old, we have say about 1.5, 1.6 million turnover. But the profitability is not there because we are a technology company. Do you all weigh technology companies and evaluate them based on technology or purely on balance sheet?
We will look at we don't just base on the numbers. Yeah, because we are aware like technologies, yes, your profit margin could be small. Yeah, but in terms of the revenues, we also look at revenues, we look at net worth. So in totality, we look at the whole balance sheets. Yeah. Okay. So not to worry if let's say, in terms of profit margin, it's just a very small profit margin company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. Do we have any more questions?
Yeah, Glenn, can you hear me?
Yes, Adam, I can hear you.
Okay, hi. I'm sorry, I had to fall off, and so I don't know if my question might have been answered, so please stop me Elena, if it was. We've been operating for 8 years, a profitable company, but we've been investing a lot in the last 18 months in some new startup activities. And so we actually had some effectively losses, which then affects the net asset position. And so because the negative net assets that occurred because of 1 year of activities, then that knocks us out for a loan with you guys. And I was just wondering, I mean, that's the way the process works, but are there exceptions, and we can at least show you, you know, the level of profitability we've got for this year? We can get around that, or is it black and white? Negative net assets, no loan.
Negative for 1 year, right? You are saying?
Effectively, yeah.
Yeah, if let's negative for 1 year, I mean, we could still be able to assess it.
Right, because when we applied, we were knocked back recently. I don't know how many people I'm telling to this on the call, but it didn't really sound like that they were too interested in hearing us come back and explain the situation. But maybe I'll just contact you directly. I mean,
Sure. I think I will post my email address in the chat itself so that you all can take a look at my email. I think some of you all wanted to contact me.
Yes.
Thanks.
So I think some of the general guidelines is this. Okay, we always assess the latest 2 financial years, right? If it's, let's say for this purpose of discussion, it's let's say you furnish 17 and 18 financials, right? 19 is not ready yet. So, but we know that 19 perhaps is a good year. So 17 was making money. 18 was a loss because of some forward-looking investments. 19 not fully ready, but you have some solid performance record. 19. Then I think we view this favorably, or even 20. Then FY20, the first quarter, and there's some very strong projections and assumptions that you have made for us. I think you apologize if we were not very patient in the past. I think you have now Miss Elena Yeo's contact. She's quite a patient lady, a girl.
Absolutely. And none of this was meant as criticism. And obviously here I am in an open forum talking about my financials. So I feel it's a collaborative environment. And I'm sort of very grateful of your support and contribution. So yeah, no, I'll get the guys who actually, I'll put something together to make it a little bit more clear, because as always, just seeing one set of numbers without an explanation is difficult for you. I mean, I'm an ex-banker from a long time ago, and I know sort of the way it works. So that's fine. I'll leave it there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Adam. Does anyone have any final questions? We'll take 2 more. We don't even need 2 then. Okay, so I'm going to stop the screen share and sort of put up my slides. Hopefully everybody can sort of see. Yeah. Sorry, can we see my slides?
Yes.
Okay. So once again, I apologize for my poor audio earlier on. As I mentioned, and I think Alan probably did a quick introduction of Brands for Good and who we are. When this COVID-19 came about, we decided to sort of pivot and start bringing the community together, and we've sort of launched this Emerge Stronger campaign that SMEs can come together and strengthen ourselves. And through that, we hope that this series of seminars that we are going to run weekly, and we have done it already 3. We sort of lined up 6 more already up front, and we've got Jason Lowe who's coming in next week to talk about IP, intellectual property, and how that can also help your business strengthen itself. Of course, we've got a sharing today by Mark and Eleanor. If you can join our WhatsApp chat group, this is the QR code. We will also try and disseminate the materials, including this slide, through the WhatsApp chat, so that we can pass on and also update you guys of our weekly webinars on what we're doing. I also want to sort of cover next week's one with, again, I think Alan probably introduced Jason a little bit, but Jason is actually with Peace Future. Peace Future is the first IP intellectual property bank, which means that they actually manage both Nokia's and Panasonic's IPs and patents, and they find ways to try and help SMEs commercialize them and work in a opportunity to collaborate on some of these IPs for commercialization. So similar to how SK you're using A-Star, Peace Future also has access to all of Nokia's some of Nokia's patents as well as Panasonic's ones. And recently, of course, he also got Nomura Bank as a partnership, and we can also work with Nomura Bank on Nomura on bringing Japanese SMEs to Asia and pairing them up with local SMEs to find collaborative businesses and successes, right? I sort of want to quickly run through just 3 slides on impact and then on this COVID-19, on how it's really going to affect all of us in many different areas. And I think some of your industries may not be here, but essentially, this came from boardofinnovation.com, and I think there is a great deck that's being circulated around, and it's something that I suggest that everybody starts reading to start really looking at your own business and see where you are going to be impacted, because there are industries, because of the way that our behaviors are going to change over the next 12 months to 1 year, is going to impact your business, right? Whether you're in tourism, whether you're in automotive, whether you're in beverage, retail, pharmaceuticals, there are going to be impacts, right? And then I think for those of you who can start recognizing it, you should start planning for it and try to pivot if necessary, or to modify what you need to do. So this is really the 3 things that you need to look out for. Your short-term defense, right? Worry about your cash flow. I mean, everybody's saying it's a long winter. It's a long, hard winter, right? We've got, we are expecting this to be 12 to 18 months before we see an exit. So the short-term defenses are already there. Everybody's already started to panicking and then finding loans or funding and money to tong the current situation. But your midterm now mitigations are going into, that's where you should be now, understanding what is your long-term and midterm impact. You need to start protecting your revenues, figuring a way how to do that, start rebudgeting, stabilize your operations. But on the offense side is something that I think we all should start looking at as well. Understand the new economy and what this means and the growth opportunities that it might bring for your business. You need to start developing a strategy on how to outperform your competitors. You need to plan to pivot or develop products, right? And then, of course, look at your long-term goals and planning. Many industry leaders have pivoted already. I mean, if you quickly look at it, Dyson within 10 days, right, moved from, they are in the business of airflows, right? And they move from vacuum cleaners and airflow things to producing ventilators. And that was done within 10 days. And they have shown quickly how important it is to start pivoting. Open Table is also pivoting. Intelligo is pivoting. Others are preparing to pivot. Petrochemical companies, entertainment companies. XR Casinos is not building a virtual casino, but actually creating virtual spaces for people to see the casino. Food, F&B, it's looking at value chain food, creating new brands for that. And I want to sort of encourage everyone to take this chance. I mean, this is down to our theme of emerging stronger, right? We need to look at the innovation, right? You should now start looking at innovations. Studies have shown many times that those people who innovate during a crisis comes out stronger. Those people who start doing the research and build something now comes out stronger. Those of you who start cutting your innovations and look inward will be the ones that will, sorry to say, struggle, right? So it is a chance for all of us to strengthen and find new new cause. And we hope that this Emerge Stronger series that we're doing helps to strengthen everyone and bring everybody together. So the last thing that I wanted to do with this webinars is, of course, to create networking opportunities for all of us here, because right now there's no chance for us to meet new people, create new friends, and build up new relationships. So the webinars, have you noticed, it's unlike other webinars where people have chosen the broadcast webinar style. I tell, I speak, and a few hundred people listen, and that's not the way we've done things. All the while, we've always believed in networks, and we always believe in people coming together to strengthen the relationships that we all have. So we are trying to do that now with also our own webinars, and we after this session, straight away, we're going to do breakout rooms, and we hope that you guys will stay on for the breakout rooms and introduce yourself and meet other new friends, create some new contacts. We hope that this opportunity creates also a chance for you to build new relationships and meet new people, and from there on, keep in touch. Doesn't mean that we're all working from home means that we are totally in isolation, right? We are still social creatures. So so without further ado, I'm going to move into our little breakout rooms, and many of us will be around. Elena, Mark, you'll still be around, right? Okay, Mark, Trina, Ellen, who's spoken, and Ellen as well are going to be around. You're all co-hosts, so we'll be splitting up everybody into breakout rooms randomly. The co-hosts will be there, and you can sort of get a chance to meet some of them and introduce yourself as well, and meet other peoples as well. So please do stick around for our networking. So thank you all, guys.